Have you ever wondered if what you've been told about the American dream is really true? Thousands of people dream of the land of opportunity, but what happens when that dream turns into a nightmare? Today, I bring you the true story of a woman who, after years of chasing that lie, decided to leave everything behind and seek a different future. Her story will make you question everything you thought you knew about success, hard work, and the promise of America. Are you ready to discover the true face of the dream so many yearn for? Farewell to the myth of the American dream, the story of an American woman who found fulfillment in a Latin American country. Lucy says that, despite having a formal job and fulfilling all social obligations in the United States, her family lived in conditions of poverty and deprivation. Born in the United States, Lucy dedicated much of her life to pursuing the famous American dream, a promise of prosperity, stability, and success that has motivated millions of immigrants and natives for generations. Like many hardworking people, she worked different jobs to try to build a better future, confident that her efforts would be rewarded. However, the reality was very different. After marrying a Chilean citizen, Lucy decided to emigrate to Chile, a country she initially knew only as a visitor, but which has now become her permanent home. Today, celebrating this change, she proudly states, "Now we can live." Lucy's vision of the American dream, the reality of a nation in crisis. Lucy went viral on social media after posting a powerful message on her TikTok account, @LucyGringaChile, addressed to those who still believe in the iconic American dream. In her video, she stated with sincerity and a critical eye, "The American dream is dead, at least for those like me, who were born in the United States." She emphasized that, although in her country, the ideal has been promoted for decades as accessible to all with work and effort, her experience was very different. "I met all the expectations, jobs, responsibilities, paying taxes, and doing my best. But despite everything, we didn't achieve a decent life. Poverty, despite our efforts, was still present," she recounted sadly. The frustrating routine and evidence of a failed system. Lucy explains in detail how her daily life in the U.S. was marked by frustration and economic hardship. Inflation, high housing costs, exorbitant supermarket prices, and limited access to affordable health care led her to question the promise of the American dream. "Rent took up almost my entire paycheck, and food was too expensive. Often we couldn't afford the basics," she expressed. She also shared that, even with a stable job, it was difficult to save or access essential services without extreme sacrifices. Many weeks, they only managed to get by on the bare minimum, and paying for adequate medical care seemed like an unattainable luxury for many families. She also criticized the popular idea in the U.S. that if you work hard, everything will be easy. That's unrealistic. The reality is that the system is broken and favors a few, leaving the majority in poverty, she stated firmly. The decision to emigrate and hope in Chile. After years of struggling to establish herself in the United States, Lucy found in her marriage to a Chilean man an opportunity for a more stable and peaceful life. She decided to emigrate to Chile, a country she initially knew only in passing, but which now holds a very special place in her life. "Since we arrived, my reality changed completely. Here, for the first time, I can live without so much stress about paying rent, and the food is much more affordable and of higher quality," she says. Lucy compares the costs between the two countries and highlights the advantages of her new life. "Here, we can go to the doctor whenever we need to, and the food isn't full of chemicals or as processed," she explains, emphasizing how healthy eating has a positive impact on her well-being and that of her family. Concrete examples of the economic differences. To illustrate the difference, Lucy mentions that in the U.S., a simple doctor's visit can cost several $100s, even with insurance, and that a basic food basket represents a significant expense in a monthly budget. In Chile, however, a routine checkup costs much less, and fresh local foods are more affordable and accessible. In addition, she is able to pay her bills and enjoy family time with fewer work worries, unlike in the United States, where many people work overtime or multiple jobs to support their families. Psychological and emotional impact. Lucy confesses that living in the United States created a very heavy emotional burden for her. The constant feeling of insecurity, the stress of not having stability, and the frustration of working hard without seeing concrete improvements affected her mental health. At times, she experienced bouts of anxiety and hopelessness, feeling that her efforts weren't enough and that the system favored a few to the detriment of the majority. In contrast, in Chile, she has found a more stable and communal environment, where feeling safe and valued has allowed her to regain emotional peace. The ability to access mental health services and a closer support network has been fundamental in her recovery and personal growth. The role of remittances and family support. Another important aspect of Lucy's story is sending remittances to relatives in the United States and other Latin American countries. Many immigrant families, like her, work hard to send money and support their loved ones' education, healthcare, or home purchases. These remittances are essential for improving the living conditions of many communities in their countries of origin and reflect how mobility and migration decisions are often determined by the need to protect and strengthen family ties. Lucy explains that, in her case, mutual support with her family has always been a driving force to move forward, and that, thanks to her move to Chile, she can now offer a much better quality of life for her children and other family members. Immigration policies and access to residency. Lucy also emphasizes that she found the immigration process in Chile to be more accessible and less bureaucratic than in the United States. Processing visas, residency permits, and citizenship in the U.S. is often long, expensive, and fraught with obstacles, which can discourage many immigrants. On the other hand, Chile has facilitated the regularization and permanence of immigrants in some ways, allowing for a more streamlined process. This has been key for Lucy and her family to settle with greater security and stability. The existence of more inclusive policies not only improves the quality of life for immigrants, but also fosters a more active and positive integration into society. Vision for the future. Opportunities and challenges in both countries. Lucy expresses that, although she is grateful for the opportunity to live in a more just and supportive country, she knows that no place is perfect. Both countries face challenges, the United States with its growing inequality and structural problems in health, housing, and education, and Chile with its own economic inequalities, political and social problems. Therefore, she calls on those who emigrate to maintain realistic expectations and value the opportunities offered by their communities and countries. Success isn't always where you think it will be. Sometimes it's learning to value what you have and taking advantage of the opportunities that arise here at home, she notes. Final reflection. True transformation begins within oneself. For Lucy, her story shows that true change and progress depend, to a large extent, on individual decisions and the ability to adapt and seek new options. Her experience in the United States taught her that it's not always enough to work hard if the conditions of the system don't favor those who need it most. Therefore, today, she says that in Chile she found not only economic stability, but also a more humane environment with a greater sense of community and mutual support. Success isn't just about having money, but about feeling like you have a place to live with dignity and peace of mind, she concludes. Finally, she invites those considering emigrating, or those who still believe in the American dream, to reflect on their realities, seek information, and value the opportunities in their own countries. True satisfaction, she concludes, lies in learning to live with what one has and building a life worth living from there. And you? Do you still believe in that dream that sometimes seems too good to be true? Lucy's story shows us that what we're sold on television isn't always reality. True wealth isn't always in dollars or empty promises, but in finding a place to live with dignity, peace, and community. The question is, are you willing to open your eyes, analyze your reality, and build your own path to happiness? What she teaches us is that sometimes the greatest success lies in knowing how to value what you have and daring to seek your true happiness. Reflect, because the decision to change may be much closer than you imagine.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future ideas that challenge us to think outside the box. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, and don't forget to always maintain that curiosity that drives progress. Also, explore even more fascinating content on our channel. From life-changing tips and cutting-edge technology, to the mysteries of spirituality, travel to various countries, delicious recipes, health hacks, and language learning, there's something here to spark your curiosity and elevate your life. Dive in and discover a world of knowledge awaits us.